please introduce yourself? Hello?
Sure.
Yeah.
So my name is Maria Araujo. I'm a consultant at PwC. I've been working there for this is my third year, and I'm looking now to. I have just applied to different business schools
Mhm.
in Europe and one in the US.
Yes. But what is exactly your background? So, where did you study, Maria? In which business school, university did you study?
So I studied in industrial engineering and business administration at ICAI.
Yeah.
It took me 6 years, and then I jumped into consulting straight.
Okay. And tell me, Maria, having a degree from ICAE, because you already have 6 years of studies and you have studied business and engineering, it was not enough for you. You needed to complement that with an MBA. Why?
Yeah, I think that an MBA is really helpful if you're looking for a career shift, mainly, which is what I'm
Hmm?
trying to look for, and maybe like reset my career.
Okay. And so basically, maybe people would be interested to know what type of career shift was it?
So, as I just told you, I mean supply chain consulting, which
Hmm?
is really specific, and I'm looking for a career shift into the financial sector and
Okay.
going into private equity.
So you want to do into private equity. So of course, so you will have to understand that if you're consulting, if you do supply chain and you want to go into private equity, you need something, huh? Okay, and so you need because you're going to have to pass interviews. I don't know if some of you know how it works, but to pass this type of interviews, you need to. So if someone can mute Kevin, huh? You need, of course, you need to be ready. So when you say that you want to go into management consulting, into private equity, without going through investment banking, so you want to go directly to private equity as a what? As an analyst, as a what? As an investor, as a what?
Yeah, it would be as analyst.
Yeah. So you want to go as an analyst without starting as an investment banker. Okay, well, because
Hmm.
it's not so easy. So maybe and in terms of so yes, and so tell me, Maria, to which programs have you applied?
So I applied to in 4 different schools.
Yeah.
3 were in Europe, yes, in Spain, LBS in London Business School, and also INSEAD.
Hmm?
And then all over the US, I applied to Columbia Business School.
Yeah. Alors basically, you have to know that she has decided to apply to Columbia because she has her sister went to Columbia, okay, and she saw by what her sister has been able to accomplish going from she was working for in consulting before that and studying after that at Columbia. So that's of course something that, and you're still waiting for an answer from Columbia. Huh? So for the time
Yeah.
being, you have been accepted to IAC, LBS, and INSEAD. You had an interview with Columbia, and you're waiting for the final answer from Columbia. So maybe there will be another meeting for Columbia, hopefully. Um, but Kevin, first of all, Kevin, do you want to congratulate Maria? Maybe Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. Long
Yeah.
time.
Hello, Kevin. Don't
That's
cry.
right. All right.
Uh,
So there's a lot of Kevins here.
Yeah, there are a lot of Kevin. So you want to congratulate Maria?
Is there a
Maybe
real
no.
Kevin? No, that's yeah. There's a lot of Kevins,
Yeah, yeah.
and I could see all the other Kevins are better looking than I am.
No, come on. They cannot be better. You look like an Hollywood actor.
All right.
Um,
So Maria, congratulations.
Thank you, Kevin.
Right. So what are you starting?
Well, I haven't decided yet. I got the admissions offer by LBS, INSEAD, IESA, and I'm still waiting for Columbia.
okay. And if
Yeah.
she gets Columbia, she go to Columbia because she wants Columbia and she wants to make a career switch into finance. And it's true that Columbia is the right school if you want to make a career switch into finance. Okay. Maybe I could. Basically, can you first share your experience of preparing the GMAT with Kevin? What was it like?
Yeah,
You got a
sure.
very good
So
score, obviously. And what piece of advice will you give to people who are in in Kevin's class today.
Of course. So I have just been in your shoes. I don't
Mhm.
know how you feel, but I think that it was a pretty uncertain time for me and even a bit scary because you're always wondering, like, am I gonna get a good GMAT enough to apply and be admitted to school? Which is also I think the question that you always have in your mind. So in preparing your GMAT, I think that the things that I lacked of and would be my main recommendations would be to find someone to lean on and learn with them the exam. I felt really lonely, and I think that that is harder. So if you have someone that accompanies you through this process, is much better, I guess. And if you can't, it's hard. And the second recommendation that I would give myself is to take some time off from work if you can. I wasn't able to afford that, and it was pretty intense for me because it's really nice to have like a 2 weeks period with when all you do is just study for the GMAT. So, but of course, when you get a good enough GMAT score, you just stick with it. And it's not all part of the process. It's just one step. So do as best as you can and put a lot of effort. It's about giving up sometimes many plans, which is hard.
I
But
forget, Maria. What was your GMAT score?
my GMAT score was 680. So I was there on the limit. It wasn't an extraordinary GMAT. So I was really unsure about how it would go. But I think that it was a thing that I stick with my score and I applied with that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
So
because,
with a 680 and your profile with a good admissions coach, your chances of applying anywhere in Europe are really good.
but for Colombia, it was a bit weak. The average at Colombia is 730, so she was 50 points below. So we knew that for Colombia. So there was also another strategy that we have not adapted with Maria, which was to take the EA test. And Maria, you have not taken the executive assessment test, have you? Yeah,
no, no, no.
yeah, because you see,
Just
the strategy
just
that
some
we have,
background, just
yeah,
some background here. There's a test called the executive assessment test, and it's mainly used for executive MBA programs. But there are some regular MBA programs, notably Columbia Business School, that accepts an executive assessment score, and it's like a mini GMAT.
Yeah,
exactly.
so I had to take the TOEFL test, and I thought that it was too much. I was uh, I had been through the whole process, and it was stressful. So at the end, I didn't do it, but because I thought that if I end up at INSEAD, it's also my dream school for me. So um, yeah, I didn't take it at the end.
Yeah. Now, basically, yes, as I told you, so NDEA is an easier test. Okay. So me, I had, for instance, I have half of my students and some of Kevin's students who get Columbia through the EA. Okay. And you have to see that school, they don't distinguish. Okay. The EA test is an easier test, but they don't distinguish. As soon as you have a 160, which is a okay test and easy to get. If you score 650, you get 160 on the EA test. They take you. So they have many students who have scored 640, 650, which is not enough for Columbia. But switching to the EA tests, okay, they have been able to get in. Remember that, by the way, that the first student that worked with me in late 2019 was his name was Jaime as well. And he got all the schools through the EA test. And last year, we had a student called Claudia, got accepted to MIT, Columbia, Stanford, Ross, Duke, NYU through the EA test. So our greatest achievement last year. So you have to see, they don't care. I don't want you to say, yes, but if I don't have the GMAT, Columbia would never take me. They take you. You know, by the way, that even MIT now gives GMAT waiver. That's why you have to work
So,
with people.
Ubed, would you
Yeah.
say that if somebody's only goal is to get into Columbia Business School for an MBA, it would be a mistake for them to take the GMAT,
No, it's
and
not a mistake,
they should
Kevin,
instead
because
taking executive assessment?
no, it's not a mistake, but imagine, like in the case of Maria, she knows that 680 is not exactly the type of score that they want. She knows that she's
So,
going to get with her 680, she's going to get LBS, INSEAD,
so why
IAC.
why should anybody take the GMAT if their only goal is to get into Columbia?
Yeah, but at the same time, Colombia is very selective, so you're never sure that you get Colombia. Huh? You see, Kevin. So that's why. But you could add at the end the EA test to try MIT and Columbia. Imagine that you score 680. You know that it's going to be difficult with Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, all these schools. Okay, you know that in Europe you're going to make it, and you say, okay, well, I will not get 720. What can I do to compensate? But you take the EA test, and with the EA test, you can apply to Stanford, MIT, Columbia, NYU, Duke, Michigan, which is not bad. Okay, because you know that with your 680, not in general, you will be, or even 650, it will be very difficult to handle MIT or Columbia. You see, of course, you have to take the GMAT. By the way, Kevin will show you what the EA test look like. The EA test is a GMAT. Okay, it's an easy GMAT. Okay, by the way, the new GMAT focus is even closer to the GMAT than the old GMAT was about. Okay, so if you prepare the GMAT with Kevin, you buy 4 tests and then you take the EA test. There will be not much work. So basically, with Maria, we are in a hurry because in October, in August, we had to write the application, and we have not been able to do it, Maria, because you tried to retake the GMAT and we have not been able to do it. So now it's very good. Now, what is the issue that I have with INSEAD? I'm French, as you can hear from my accent. I love the school, but INSEAD will not allow you to make a complete career switch. If you're a consultant in process engineering, in, I don't know, digital transformation, you will never become an investment banker with INSEAD. Never. Okay. So if you want to make a career switch, you need to have a longer program that will allow you to get a summer internship, specialize in finance on your two, and then it will be easier. That's why somehow Maria, if she wants to make a career switch, probably LBS is probably better than INSEAD. Okay, because she has a 2-year program, and plus she will be in London, where you have many more financial institutions. You agree, Maria? Okay, so even though LBS is not as well ranked as INSEAD, that's why be careful with rankings. Be very careful with rankings. Rankings mean nothing. Okay. If she really wants to make a career switch, LBS is probably a better school for her than INSEAD, because first, the finance industry is in London. Okay, so she will build the network there, and second of all, in 2 years she can build the credibility. Okay, now I'm going to ask you some questions. Alors, Miriam, you want to introduce yourself? Miriam, what is your background? What do you want to study? Hello? Hello?
Of course. Sorry. There were some people.
No, Miriam. There's Miriam in class. Miriam, you want to introduce yourself? What is your background? What do you want to study, Miriam? She cannot talk. Miriam? Alors, Raime Rodriguez Royo, you have a question for what is your background and what do you want to apply, Raime? Hello?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I study industrial engineering, currently working in management consulting, and I'm still not sure if I want to do an MBA, but if I manage to get accepted and my company pays for it, then there's something that I would gladly consider.
Yeah, so if you work for an MBB, go for an MBA. You know, if they pay for the MBA, go for it, Jaime.
Indeed.
Can you imagine 2 years of vacation paid by McKinsey? No, who would refuse? And I'm sure that if you're there on a Saturday morning, you must be motivated. So, Jaime, and you want to start one in September 24?
Yeah.
2024. So you have to hurry up, because if you want to send your application, you have 1 month. Okay?
I know.
So that's another thing. Maria, can you explain about this story with round? Can you explain what it is, this round, why you cannot apply at the last minute? Hello?
Yeah, sure. Well, you need to give a lot of thought to your story. You need to dig really deep into why you're making all the decisions, and there's so many. The whole process is really a lot of effort. So you need, in order to build that strong story, you need time, obviously.
Yeah, and also you need time. At the same time, you have to don't apply the last minute. So the last round to apply for US MBA and to be competitive, okay, they officially have a round in January. In March is now. So you have 1 month.
Yeah.
Okay. You have 1 month to write your application and take the GMAT. And if you don't do it this time, it means that you have to postpone to 25. Okay. Well,
yeah.
So there's another one. Yeah.
Perhaps for you, Hubert. So I applied for another master's like in the past, and I know that it's a lot of effort to write all these CSAs, all these recommendation letters, blah, 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 blah. Have you known people that is using ChatGPT or GenAI to write this letter? Because like I have used it, and it's super strong. So I don't know if you would recommend us to do that
Basically,
or
many
starting
of my
both apps.
students, many of my students use ChatGPT because usually we write the application with them. Okay, but some of the people they want to send a first draft. So I always say, but you send me a first draft, so we have to rewrite everything. So basically, there was a seminar last week in Milan. Okay, and all the school now they have a system to identify if you have used ChatGPT or not. And there's a software called ChatGPT Zero. And you can see very well if you have used ChatGPT or not. By the way, at MBA Center, I have two people whose only job is to rewrite so that we don't see that you have used ChatGPT. So you have to rewrite completely and you need to have an expertise. Our company, we have 20 people who work for, because we have 2,000 students. So we have 20 people who write about 2 applications per week. And what I've noticed is that we have to rewrite completely when they have used ChatGPT. So we tell them, please don't write using ChatGPT. We rewrite for you and will not use ChatGPT. Okay, so be very careful because you're going to be blocked for plagiarism. By the way, I have 2 or 3 students who have called me who have been rejected everywhere from round 1, and then when I asked them how come you have been rejected, they told me I use ChatGPT. So you'll be rejected from if you use ChatGPT because they have a software to identify. It's called ChatGPT Zero. I'm sure that you use it as well at work. Okay, me for instance, I use ChatGPT to write explanation of GMAT questions, and then I rewrite a bit on it. But we don't care because we can use ChatGPT to write explanation of a sentence correction question. You go much faster that way. But we rewrite a bit on it. Okay, and for the essays, I don't advise you to do so. They will not take you simply. They will simply not take you.
But
These people are
is
not.
it fair to say, Umar, that you could use it for inspiration?
Yeah, you can use it for inspiration, but after that you have to rewrite because it's a bit a trap. Okay, because they use a software called Zero ChatGPT, and honestly, when you know ChatGPT, you see in 1 second if they have used ChatGPT or not in 1 second because there's a specific wording, esteem, ethos, whatever, array. In 1 second, you see that, and can you imagine the guy who reads the application at INSEAD? He reads 20 applications per day. So in 1 second, he says, I've seen this wording all the time. And if you know how PNL works, how this type of system works, basically they plagiarize on internet. Okay, so basically all the essays are going to look the same at the end. Okay. So that you write a very standardized explanation to a sentence correction question. It's even not bad to use ChatGPT for that, but not for your essays, not for something that is creative writing. So there are many Kevin Armstrong today in class. Lisette. So basically you have to hurry up, Jaime. Lisette, what is your question, Lisette? Hello, Lisette? Lisette? So what is your background, Lisette, and what do you want to apply, Lisette?
Hey.
What is your background and what do you want to apply?
Well, yeah. I would like to apply to the Stockholm Business School. And my background is very mixed, but basically I studied economics and hotel management, but it was a long time ago. So
where are you from? You're from France? Where are you from? You French? Hello?
No, my name is French. I'm Peruvian, but I grew up in Spain. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me, and you want to apply to where? To Stanford?
No. To the Stockholm Business School in Sweden. Yeah.
So that's for GMAT. Yeah. And when do you want to send your application? In January as well? When do you want to send the application?
Yes, in January.
So you have to hurry up. By the way, I will be with you next Saturday, so we can meet already next Saturday. Alors, I don't know your name. A girl with blonde hair with Kevin Armstrong. So what is your first name? I mean, yeah, it's you probably. Yeah.
Yeah, the better looking version.
Yeah. I prefer her to you. Sorry. So what is your first name?
You're talking to me?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Let me mute this one.
You are? You're going to come here. Yeah. So what is your first name?
My first name is Daniela.
Daniela, okay. You Italian, Daniela? Where are you from? You from Italy? Where are you from?
No, I'm originally from Venezuela.
You're from Venezuela?
I'm from Venezuela, but have been living in Spain. O cancelo la llamada.
Okay, so you can turn off the sound. Yeah. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Daniela.
we had
Are
a
you
mess.
talking? Is in which field, Daniela?
So I was born in Venezuela and I've been living in Spain for 12 years.
Okay.
I want to apply to Bocconi.
Okay.
I want to study economics and management of art, culture, media, and entertainment. I have a
want to do an
background
MSc at Bocconi?
in media management here in Spain and in Venezuela, and I'm also now pursuing an art career. So I think that that's master would englobe and everything,
Yeah, yeah.
like my
You
background,
want to work in this field, okay? So what I want to say, Daniela,
Oh shit!
is
I'm
that
not
you have to
escuchando.
finish also. I will meet you
Sorry, I
next week.
can't. We can't
Daniela.
hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Sorry. Now, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So basically, what I want to say is that you can also study at INSEAD or LBS and do a career in arts. That's something that I will discuss with you. But you have to see that being French, and we work with Kering, Chanel, L'Oréal, and LVMH closely, they always tell us they prefer to hire people from INSEAD than from people who come from a master in luxury brand management or this type of thing, because I will tell you, they have the same recruitment process as Ben, BCG, Goldman Sachs. So that's something that I will discuss with you. Okay, but try to aim for big names. Okay, so Bocconi is a big name, but maybe if your GMAT is good enough, try special general management master, an MIM or an MBA from a top school, because these schools, these companies recruit, also in top, they take top brands as well. Okay, voilà.
But I'm sorry, but I'm not looking for a career in. So the thing is that I've been working at a family-owned business here in Spain, the media. So that's why I wanted to. So my pursuit would not be to work for another company rather
Okay,
than.
so you want to work for the family business. Okay, so you want to work for the family business. Okay. By the way, they also have electives in family business, Daniela. You see, in at Bocconi, they are very strong in family business. So listen to talk. Maria. So there is Maria Joao Robles. Maria, what is your background, Maria?
So I studied engineering. I'm Portuguese, currently working in Spain in a consulting firm, and I'm preparing for the GMAT in order to be able to apply to an MBA, either in INSEAD or in London Business School. In the intake
of MBA, and when? And when do you want to start? In 24? When do you want to start?
No, intake of January 25, ideally, or September 25.
Okay, so basically you still have time. Anyway, I will see you. And there is also Miriam. So Miriam, tell me more about you. Miriam? Hello, Miriam? Miriam doesn't want to talk. So basically, I will meet you all. I will send you a report, and I will meet you all next week when I come. If you want to meet, I will meet you all of you. Alors, basically, Maria. Alors now, Maria, the application process.
Yeah.
Alors, you see that most of the students, they want to apply. Many want to apply for January 24, which is in 4 weeks. So they have to hurry up. So what is it to apply for an MBA, Maria?
So basically, once you get the GMAT score, it's about focusing on the stories and making a strong story, which can take the time that up to you that you see. But there are really specific questions for each university. So if you take a lot of universities, I took 4 to apply to at the same time, and it was quite a lot of effort. So, but it's basically compiling a good story and decide why you have taken the choices of your life and connecting everything together, and just really writing the stories mainly. And also taking into account the recommendations.
Okay. So basically, you have to see that once you have taken the GMAT is going to be able to tell you in which league you can play. Imagine that you get a 650 IDC. Okay, you get a 670, 680 INSEAD LBS. 700, you can start to consider American programs. So you have to really see that the GMAT is going to tell you if you're League 1, League 2, League 3 student. Okay? Unfortunately, okay. If your GMAT is low, forget about a good MBA. Well, it will be very difficult. Then you have the application process. So in the application process, they're going to ask you for your degree, your grades, essays, mini essays, letters of reference, CV. That takes also quite a lot of time. But you have to see that The GMAT will take 70% of your time, and the application 25% of your time. Okay, so basically the big hurdle is the GMAT, of course. Okay. So and of course you have to answer the question, you have to position yourself, you have to explain why you want to do this and that, and it's never obvious. Basically, if it's not obvious, you have to explain why having such a profile you want to do something else. And if you're like Jaime or Maria, another consultant, you have so many applying from Spain, you have to explain what makes you stand out, okay? Because you have so many applying, okay? And of course, consultant, there's a big issue with consultant. It is, what about their leadership thing, okay? Because when you're a consultant, you don't manage, you know what the consulting is about. So you have to convince them that you can be a manager, that you have leadership, because they want to be reassured about this, okay? And then once you have been accepted, okay, once you have sent the application, imagine that you apply to INSEAD. What are the last two steps, Maria?
Yeah, so basically when you get the first interviews, and this is, I think it's really specific to each university. My experience is that ESE was really technical. It was like questions, answer, question, answer, question, answer. And then with LBS and INSEAD, it was with an alumni, which was, for me, it was softer. Like it was having a chat with a friend and just trying to connect. You always have to be prepared for why an MBA, why that university, and basically know your story. And I think you always know your story.
Yeah.
And for Colombia, it was a bit colder. It was a blind interview online. So I think it's
by
one
blind
of them.
interview, we mean someone who has not read your application. That's what
Yeah.
you mean by blind interview.
Yeah, that's what they tell you, and you only know the person in 24 hours in advance.
Yeah.
Online, it's really different. I think with alumni it was better.
Okay, but basically what you have to see is that when you apply, for instance, to INSEAD, you first have a Kira talent, so you have a video interview.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Which is a bit like a TOEFL. Okay, in reality, it's a sort of TOEFL. They want to see how you express yourself, so they have a video interview, and that you have to apply, and 24 hours after that, you take the video interviews. So some people outsource that, some schools outsource that to a company called Kira, okay, and others use their own system. Okay, it's a bit stressing, and you have usually 5 questions, and these questions are about everything, and you don't know what to expect. Okay. It's a bit, if you have taken the TOEFL or the IELTS, it's a bit like the speaking section of the TOEFL or the IELTS. And then you have an interview. It's interesting because Maria, she shared the 3 different types of interview that you can expect to have. At IAC, you have an interview with an alumni, plus you have an interview day. It's either online or at IAC in the Barcelona campus. Okay? And of course, it's a bit stressing because it's a business case in front of a jury. You agree, Maria? And it's a group. So you have to, a bit like at work, you have to solve a business case in a group. And it's very, very scary. Okay? I'm going to tell you a funny story. I have a student who has been accepted to Harvard, Wharton, Stanford. You cannot do better than that. Okay? IAC is far from being as demanding as Harvard, Wharton, Stanford. Okay? The guy is an entrepreneur and he has an interview. People could hardly speak English. Many were coming from China, from Japan, could hardly speak English, and they had nothing to say. So the guy stood out. He was my student, by the way, and he said, "Look, guys, let's work on the interview now. Let's work on it," because nobody was taking initiative. Okay, it was becoming very, very unconvincing. So he stood out. He said, "It's my future. I want to do the case, okay, with you." So he decided to ask students, and then they built the case. So he took the leadership in the group. Okay. Out of 37 people who got accepted, he's the only one who has not been accepted. Okay? I work for IAC, and I say, look, the guy is a leader. He has a company. Blah, blah, blah. He got accepted to Harvard one song. And he said, he's too much of a leader. Imagine if you had said one sentence, it would have been enough. So the guy, and after that, what was very interesting is that he was in front of the BCG, and the BCG said, wow, we want to take you. You're so great. Okay? You're so great. We love you. Okay? So the guy accepted to Harvard. BCG said, you want to take you because you're so great. And IAC tells you, no, you have too much leadership. We don't want people like you. So you have to be very careful. And he said, if I had said 2 sentences in a basic English, like the Japanese girl was next to me, I would have been accepted. Okay? Well, So you have to be very careful in this type of things. So if you work together, I will tell you the right attitude to have. Be leader, but don't take too much leadership because they are obviously scared by that. Okay. And then you have another type of interview at INSEAD. INSEAD, you have two interviews with alumni, but they have read your application. Okay. So they will ask you for extra questions if they want to go a bit further. Okay. And then when you go to Colombia, the guy has not read your application. By the way, I find that it's a bit scary that someone has read your application. Imagine that you say something very special. For instance, yesterday I was writing an essay, but a girl wants to apply to Bocconi and for to IE. And for IE, they ask you, tell me about something that you have not mentioned, etc. And she mentioned about her mother who had a nervous breakdown, and how she helped her mother getting through, and how she helped her after that, and how it changed her as a human person, more altruistic, more empathetic, and so on and so forth. Okay, imagine that someone who knows you knows that your mother got a breakdown and whatever. You agree? It's not very good because you want to say things that are very, very personal in these essays. So I don't like the idea of the non-blind interview. What, for instance, INSEAD offers. So and be careful. Be careful to what can happen. That's why you cannot say something that are also too personal because you never know who can read your application. I find that there's a breach, there's an ethical breach in all that. Okay. Well. So and after that you have to wait 2 to 3 weeks, okay, to get the final answer. Okay. Be careful at the same time. Apply to all the school at the same time. Okay, because I give you an example. Okay, Maria, have you already paid for INSEAD or LBS? Have you already paid?
No,
Deposit?
no.
Okay.
But I have 1 week left.
Yeah. So basically, the problem is that she has 1 week left to pay, and she has not received the answer from Colombia. That is her dream school. So try to apply to schools to make sure that you have the answer basically at the same time. Okay. So you see that you have schools like Columbia and NYU that have a very long decision process. Okay, and you have schools like HEC or IAC that have a very short decision process. Okay, so you have to say, okay, we get an answer by mid-October, but let's say late November, and I have until mid-December to pay for my school. So be very careful with that, so that you don't have to pay for a school that you don't want to go. Imagine that. Okay, and the deposit for INSEAD is what, 6,000, 8,000 euros? How much is it? 12. Imagine 12,000 euros. So you cannot lose this 12,000. So be very careful to when you apply. Okay. Any questions before we stop? Do you have I don't know. There's a student with a barb. I don't know your first name. What is your first name? Yeah. You're on mute. Come next to Daniela, maybe.
There are problems with that.
What is your first name? What is your first name? Pablo. Hello, Pablo.
So let me get this.
So what is your background and what do you want to apply and when?
I studied journalism, so I've been working as a journalist for 7-8 years now, and I would like to get into the executive MBA of ESM just to get prepared and maybe get another kind of job inside my newspaper. So I would like to apply next month, January, February, to get in for September 2024.
Okay, and don't forget, so you have to take the GMAT. By the way, if you don't do well on the GMAT, you can also take the EA test because the IAC MBA accept the EA test. And anyway, the EA is like the GMAT. So what you're doing with Kevin in class is very useful. I just suggest that you buy a software with 2 tests and you practice on the EA once you have done the GMAT preparation. Prepare the GMAT like Daniela is preparing the GMAT, and then so if you want, we can help you on the application and the interview. Is there anybody else in the room? So basically, Maria, I will see you next week. Okay, I will send you an SMS, and I will meet you next week. Because we teach, we help IE and ESCP students, and I will meet them, and I will take advantage that I'm in Madrid to come to visit you. Tell me, do you have any question? Has anybody here a question? Okay. No. Basically, what I want to tell you is that why are we here? We are here because we know that ideally you should get a 780 GMAT, have a perfect profile, okay, and probably you don't really need us, okay. If you're the best student from ICAI, you have a 780 GMAT, your English is perfect, you have already studied, your father went to Harvard and he can review your essays, you don't need us. Okay. If it's not the case, you may need us. Okay. So you may need to build a strategy to say, okay, which test, what do I write in my application? How do I prepare the assessment day? How do I do that? Knowing that I'm not familiar at all with all this process. And that's where we come. Okay. Remember that when I was myself, I went to Harvard. And remember that when I went to Harvard, my parents, they quit school when they were 14 years old. Okay, I come from, my father is an entrepreneur, but they quit school. They have never been able to help me. Even when I was 6 years old, one day I said to my father, can you help me for math? You made a mistake. And I say, my friend, if you want to make it, nobody will help you at school, at all. Okay, and I made it myself. When I was at Harvard, I did my PhD there, but I had friends were in the medical school, I had friends were at the business school, I had friends doing the GD to lawyers. Where do you come from? My father is a lawyer. My father is a surgeon. My father is a professor. I said, my father quit school when he was 14 years old. So what I want to say, you're going to be with people whose background is that they are super advantaged because their brother, their sister, their father went there. Okay? And they don't need a coach, of course, because they have a coach at home. Okay? For the rest, you need them. Okay, if you want to optimize, okay, so basically which school, where can I get in? Okay, okay, well, that's how can I optimize my profile? What can I say? And for that, you need them. Alors, I will meet you. I will send you a personalized SMS. Okay, because I take care of the Spanish market myself. Okay, there are not that many students. There are 100. Take care of. Okay, so I can I have my assistant helping, but I don't have a. Well, alors, basically, Maria.
Yes.
Best work. So, what piece of advice would you give to students who are like you 9 months ago when we met?
So, in terms of the GMAT, the things that I've said, and then just basically, I think it's about really making a strong story and knowing your background, knowing your stories, telling them, and really understanding why you want to do an MBA. I don't know. It would be
exactly. Yeah. And of course, get to know the MBA. So, for instance, Maria, she went to an open day that they organize for admitted students. So it's also important that you go to meet the school as well. I would suggest the EMBA program for you, Pablo, is in Madrid. By the way, if you want, since I work with IAC, we can have a lunch there if you want when I'm there, because I have my MIM students are also in Madrid. So we can have lunch if you want. We can have lunch, and there it's like 20 minutes by car from Kevin's office. So what else I want to say? So yes, first of all, make sure that you have the right GMAT. Make sure that your profile can fit with the school that they will take you, that you reach the criteria. Don't apply too late. Time is your enemy. Okay, so when you see you, Pablo, if you work together to write the IAC application, we're going to be able to make it. Okay, in 1 month we can make it. For you, Jaime Rodriguez Royo, 1 month to write all the application of all the schools, it's an issue, and ChatGPT is not going to help you much. Okay, because you'll be caught for plagiarism. You imagine what is going on now in America. I have friends who are professors, and they tell me that I give them an assignment, and I have the thing that I read 20 times the same assignment. Okay, so imagine the issue that they have, and of course they have software. They have one called Zero ChatGPT to analyze what you have produced. So Maria, thank you very much for being with us. So did you like LBS? What did you like, and what did you dislike at LBS? Is it the school now? Did you change your opinion on LBS, or you didn't change your opinion?
I don't think it really changed my opinion, but I think it was really interesting. Yeah.
But the only thing that I will see you next week. If you want, come to have a coffee with me, Maria. Just consider that if you want to make a real career switch, LBS will help you more than INSEAD. INSEAD is good if you're an engineer from ICAI. You go to INSEAD and you work for McKinsey. It's perfect for that. Okay. If you're an engineer from ICAI, you have worked in process, and you believe that you're going to become investment banker, forget it. INSEAD will not help you with that. Okay. So basically, you have to see for yourself what you want to do. So for you, for instance, Pablo, You want to make a switch, but you don't want to make a huge switch. You want to you want to have a management position in the same sector. An executive MBA is enough. For you, for instance, Daniela, you work in the family business. You need to have more experience. Okay, you're still very young anyway. You're going to do for the masters, and maybe in 5-6 years, maybe you need an MBA because you want to run the family business, expand it. Okay, basically, each of you have a specific need. Okay, it's true that most of our students, they're looking for big names because it's like when you buy a car, you know that if you have a Mercedes or a BMW, you will not be disappointed. If you take a Dacia or a Renault, maybe it can be good, maybe it can be bad, and you can be disappointed. Okay, so basically, you know that with some names, you have a quality of product, a network, quality of teaching, care services that are pretty good. Okay, of course, for you, for instance, Pablo, if you want to stay in Spain, IAC is more than enough. So there's also another issue that you have to see. And Daniela, if you go to Bocconi, you have to see, where do I want to have my network? Okay. If you want to have your network in Spain, Bocconi is not the right program for you. Okay. Consider that. For instance, Maria, she wants to go back to work in consulting in Spain, go to INSEAD. You want to work as an investment banker or PE investor in America, LBS is probably better. Okay. So don't forget that some schools have exchange programs. Okay. For instance, LBS has a semester-long exchange program. So if you go to LBS, you can do 1 semester at Chicago or Columbia. Okay, which is not bad if you want to find a job after that in America. You have to see that if you study at INSEAD, only 40 students can have a 2 months exchange program with Wharton. 2 months is very little. Okay, so it's not the school, and the school like INSEAD, for instance, is not recognized at all in America, at all, because Americans don't believe in the 1-year MBA. So I will see you. I will write to you. Okay, Daniela, Pablo, Jaime. I will be happy. Maria, Joao, Robles. I will be happy to talk to you. Tell me what you have done, where you want to go. Does the profile work? Basically, the problem of the student is say, do they apply high enough or too low enough? Do they apply to the right school? What will they get from this school? Okay, and how can they make sure, or how can they increase their odds of admission? A thing that I've written to all of you 2-3 days ago, and you may have noticed that I gave you our success story. So 24 students accepted. We took care of 24. The 24 got accepted, and most of them got their dream school. Okay, especially when they apply to relevant program. Okay, now getting to Wharton, Harvard is a bit more difficult, but we have Ravi to Harvard, Marina to Wharton, and others that were waiting the answer for Columbia. Okay, voilà. Thank you very much for being there. You have a question to ask me, Jaime, Pablo, Daniela, Maria, Miriam? You have a question for me? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.
All good. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.